Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. This is the new sound design series here at BusyWorksBeats.com, where we show you how to create sounds from start to finish. So today we're going to go over using unison and different pitch options, as well as these knobs up here. So let's start with the sine wave. Let's go back to our smooth tone. Now in sound design, we have what are called voices. And voices are numbers of active oscillators. Think of it that way. So if you look in the top left, almost every synth has what's called a polyphony max voice count. This is why it says voices 0 out of 3. When I press a key, it's only 1 out of 3 because I only have one sine wave oscillator going. If I increase this number to 2, okay, 2 out of 6. And if I go to 3, 3 out of 9, multiples of the polyphony. So if I turn this to 1, it's easier. Let me go back. Let me turn it to max 1. So this is one voice. So that means the plugin will only allow one oscillator to go on at a time. So if I try to play chords, it'll sound weird. So that's the most common thing I see with plugins, is that some plugins don't have a max polyphony set. So if you want to play chords right off the bat, make sure you turn your polyphony count up to the max, as long as it doesn't stress your CPU. So if I play, again, one voice is being counted here because we only have one oscillator going. If I change this to 2 voices, now the max multiplies the polyphony times as however many active voices we have. If I change this over here, it's going to be 3 voices because there's 3 active oscillators. Multiplied by the polyphony equals the amount of voices that we're allowed to have in a given patch. So that's 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, so on. Okay, so it's just a number of oscillators going at once. So if we set our polyphony to 1, again, we can only play one note at a time. Let's change this to the max value so we can play multiple notes. Okay. Now what was I was going to mention something here. Oh, and you can play those, you can play really big chords when you have a high polyphony count. So now let's get into octaves. Let's just work our way through this plugin layout so that you see the parallels when we get into different plugins. It's going to be the same thing, just a different visual to it. And the point of having different synthesizers is the workflow. I have a video called How to Make Trap Leads. We do the same exact technique in each plugin, but we end up with a different sound every single time. And that's just because each plugin has its own workflow, its own way you approach sound design. So sound design is part technical, mostly mixing. You have to understand what mixing is all about, because you have to understand the end result of a sound. And it's mostly, you know, knowing what you're doing to a sound and being inspired at the same time. That's a huge part. You want to be inspired while designing sounds, because that's how you dig into the very unique aspects of the sound when we get to it. We're not there yet. So let's start with the basics. Let's go with the octave. This is also called coarse pitch. So if you see in other plugins, it might be called coarse pitch. Okay, octaves. So here I'm going to increase the octave. If you don't know what an octave is, every 12 keys on your keyboard is an octave. So you can play A in one octave, a low octave, and you can play A in a higher octave. So it's an easy way to cycle through high pitch sounds and low pitch sounds, so you can get quick, you know, get to the bass a lot quicker rather than having to play low keys on your keyboard. You could just use the octave keys. Okay. Now the note value here in this specific plugin is it's called a semitone. Now this will be important later on. All this stuff is important later on, but semitones are there are 12 semitones to an octave. So in Sylenth particularly, you can go plus or negative 7 semitones. And this is similar to moving up every single key on your keyboard. Every single key on your keyboard is mapped out to semitones, which equal to 100 cents. So they're 100 cents separated. So I'm going up every single key. That's the same thing with the note value here, or the semitone value. So if I hold the middle C and I change this to +1, it's actually not, even though I'm playing middle C on the keyboard, it's actually going to play C sharp. Okay, so we can transpose the note. Now that will be important when you get to chord stacks and adding fifth stacks and different techniques and, you know, different sound design techniques. So that's one way to do that without having to manually play that note on the keyboard. So that way you can have multiple notes playing at the same time without playing the notes. Now the next knob here is called fine tune. Fine tune allows you to basically go up to 100 cents in pitch. So again, pitch kind of delves into overly, that's not a word. In the overview of it, we have semitones. Okay, so you have a semitone. The semitone divides into what's called cents. So for every semitone, there's 100 cents. So there are 12 semitones in one octave, and there are 1200 cents in an octave. So the fine tune knob usually only allows you to go up, you know, between the octave. It doesn't allow you to jump octaves. That's the difference between the octave and the fine tune. If I hit C here and do +1 octave, you're going to hear the octave jump. Whereas if I hold middle C and turn up the fine tune, it only gets me to the next semitone in this specific plugin. Some plugins let you go to 6 semitones. Some plugins, you know, there's different ranges for the fine tune. So now I'm playing C sharp technically. I could do the same thing if I do +1. Same tone. So the max value here is +1 semitone. That's what the +1 stands for. So same values there with the note value semitone. So that means this knob goes in between one semitone. So you get the fine tuning. Now fine tuning is important when you get into, you know, tuning, you know, getting out of tune, detuning things and making things wobble. We'll get into that later. But fine tune is a very unique tool as well to make your sounds different. So the inversion here is more scientific. It's where you flip the phase of the sound wave. So inverting a sound wave, you can see this goes up and down. So if I hit the invert button, it's basically going to go down up. So it flips the voltage of that specific sound. Now audibly, you can't hear it. Some people like to phase cancel, and phase canceling gets into, again, more scientific talk. And we go over that in the Mixing Academy because that's a mixing technology you need to understand, is phase cancellation and different issues with phase. So let's go to the volume knob. I'm pretty sure you know what volume is at this point. You can lower the volume, raise the volume. That's important when you're layering sounds. Some sounds you don't want to have all the way up if you're layering the sound. Some sounds you want to have at low volume. And I'll show you different characteristics of that. The phase, again, if you want to understand phase, you want to grab the Mixing Academy at busyworksbeats.com/Mac. We go over phase in more depth. Just think of phase right now as a different way to hear a sound, okay? The same sound, just a different way to hear it. That's an easier way to think about phase. It's a different way to hear the same exact sound wave. It's the only way to describe it for those who don't understand. The detune knob. The detune knob is used to change the pitch of multiple voices. So this only works when you have multiple voices. So let's say we go to 2 voices for the sine wave. This is best used on a sawtooth because it's very jagged and rigid. So now I have 2 voices of the sawtooth not detuned, and they're stereoized, meaning they have full stereo width, left and right panning. So when you increase the voices, notice I go from mono at 1 voice to then stereo with 2 voices, because the plugin now has 1 voice to pan left, 1 voice to pan right. So that's what the stereo knob is doing there. Stereo just means how wide a sound is, how far left panned it is, and how far right panned it is. Mono would be to the left in this case. And you can hear it further and further in your left and right ear as you pull that stereo up. So stereo imaging, again, comes down to mixing. And that's why I like to say mixing is a huge part of sound design. If you don't understand mixing, you're not going to understand the higher levels of sound design, even the beginning portions of sound design, because again, you get to predict what a sound will turn into when you know mixing. So let's go here to detune. Detune basically is going to change the pitch of each of those voices. So again, it takes 2 or more voices to detune. When you detune, it's going to change the pitch of each of those voices so that they're different pitches. One may be plus some whatever semitone, the other will be plus whatever semitone. So it sounds detuned from each other. They're not the same pitch. Okay, here's an extreme version of that where you can hear the left side is lower pitched than the right side. You hear dun on the left side and you hear dun on the right side. Two different pitches. Okay, so that's what the detune is doing, changing the pitch of each. One's plus usually, one's negative usually in value of semitones. Okay, so we're, or fine tuning. We're going up the semitones on one's going down negative semitones. So a nice detune is just right below 50%. 50% is usually the max value as far as making, detune that we're used to. Once you pass 50%, it kind of gets into where you can tell it's detuned. So this is how we make a fuller stereo sound. I'm going to play a chord with a very low detune. You can hear the sound is very sharp and very aggressive. And that's because we're all playing the same pitch. Whereas if I detune it, it's going to be a softer sound. Still jagged, but this is more evident when I increase the amount of voices. So let's turn this up to 8 voices. Let's lower the detune. Now let's pull up that detune. You have a more lush sound, as they say, because it's different pitches all combining to make a big kind of pitch variation, which, our ears more pleased with that as far as that, lush tone. Okay, so that's what detune does for you. Now the panning is if you want to pan a sound to the right or left. Again, when you get into stacking sounds, that's more of the knob you would use to pan that specific oscillator or sound wave. So now you understand the full oscillator window. Let's get into stacking sounds. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth because we're going to have many videos going over stacking sounds, but let's try to combine a sound on the left side with a sound on the right side just to go over the different parameters and how they apply. So let's activate a voice over here of a sine wave. So now we have two sawtooth waves at the same frequency, and you can hear there's a little phase issue because they're playing the same exact frequency and they're starting to mask each other in mono also. So you have that weird kind of wishy-washy sound. Now, one solution a lot of people like to use is change the phase so that they don't, overlap at the same times. You could hear as I morph the phase, you're going to hear a different, approach to that same sound wave. Now, phase also deals with cancellations, and for example, I'm not sure if this plugin will allow it, but let's do I don't know if I can get pretty precise. Yeah, you can. So let me see if I can get it to 90. Oh, if I can get it to 90, that would be great. But basically, you can cancel out the wave based on the phase. You could hear it disappear for a little bit. That's because in short, the sound waves have positive voltage and negative voltage, and when they are inverted, for example, when they're complete opposites of each other, they cancel each other out. Like +1, or let's say this, 1 minus 1 equals 0. It's the same thing. Or +1 plus -1 equals 0. It's the same thing. This one's flipped opposite of this sound wave, and you have cancellations. So that's what phase is about. Let's change this back to a sawtooth. Now, phase is a tool used when you have multiple voices because you can kind of do that wishy-washy sound. Anyway, so we're going to change the tuning. So we're going to kind of create our own stereo detune sound. Let's pan this sound to the right, pan this one to the left, And let's do what it did before when we detune those two voices. Have a lower pitch on the left. So let's go to the fine tune of the left pan and let's lower that fine tune. Now let's increase the pitch of the right side. So now we have our own multi-voice stereo spread sound. But you know, we didn't use the detune knobs and we didn't use the stereo knobs. We just did it manually with pan and with fine tune. So that's showing you the parallels between this stuff. And you might come up with more unique sounding detunes using it, you know, doing it manually like we just did. Because now it sounds more retro, okay, using that fine tune pitch change. Now also what I want to do, let's increase the amount of voices. So now we're going to apply the same technique, but this time we're going to detune the voices and they're already detuned. Once pan right and it's fine tuned, remember it's detuned manually. So the whole batch of 8 voices is going to be detuned, as well as having detune amongst those 8 voices. And then you're going to have the left side be detuned as a whole, a little to the left or lower in pitch. And then you're going to have each voice in between those 8 voices detuned. So it's a very unique detuning situation. And there you have more, more unique detuning situations. Let's exaggerate it and pull these a little further. You know, that's the exaggerated sound. So that's a different way to approach detuning manually, by working on the fine tune knob of each oscillator to manually detune it. Remember, detuning is really just changing the pitch between 2 voices and typically panning them left and right to get that stereo width. So if we wanted to narrow the stereo width, let's pull the stereo in mono. So both voices are mono. Let's detune them like we did before. And let me pull this down to 1 voice so we kind of understand what's going on. Now the stereo width, again, is the difference between, it's the combination of the left and the right. So now we have a full stereo width because we have this fully pan left, this one fully pan right. Let's pull these in to 50%. Now they're not so wide. Whereas the full pan makes it feel like they're very wide. So that's what width is. It's the calculation of the left and the right width of a sound. So in the next video, we're going to go over the envelopes, specifically the amp envelope and the different things you could do with the amp envelope. Thanks for watching today. It's BusyWorksBeats.com with the sound design series here at BusyWorksBeats.com.